warm welcome to all. Let us try to revisit a few known facts to make sense of our gathering today. As per the Asian Center for Human Rights, up to October 2013, there are about 414 convicts on death row waiting for decisions to be taken on their fate. According to the official report, total number of people executed in India since independence is claimed to be only 52. However, as per the data generated by People's Union for Civil Liberties, citing information from Appendix 34 of the 1967 Law Commission of India report, shows that 1,422 executions took place in 16 Indian states from 1953 to 1963, and probable number of executions since independence may be as high as 3,000 to 4,300. According to Asian Center for Human Rights, between 2001 to 2011, lower courts granted the death sentence to at least 5,776 convicts. Of these, death sentences of 4,321 convicts were commuted to life sentence. In December 2007, India voted against the UN General Assembly resolution calling for a moratorium on death penalty, and in November 2012, India repeated that action. Last year, President rejected the mercy petition of 24 convicts, and the Government of India ordered and sponsored 2 secretive hangings of Azman Kasab and Afzal Guru, violating all constitutional norms. But after all this, on January 21st, 2012, the landmark Supreme Court judgment was also passed commuting the death sentence of 15 convicts, and yesterday, Supreme Court stayed the execution of Bhullar. The intent to run through these events is to unravel where we stand today vis-a-vis the issue of death penalty and what is the way that needed to be treated. As civil liberties and democratic rights groups, CL&DR groups, our engagement with the issue of death penalty in these events is not just principled and theoretical, but it is also strategic, deliberate and causal. Our position is not just that of an unconditional in theory opposition to death penalty, but that of an intended political movement towards its abolition. And it is this intended political end of ours that brings us together on this common platform today. The Chronicles of Rights-Based Groups in Opposition to Death Penalty takes us 3 decades back. Though there have been oppositions to the arbitrariness inbuilt in this particular punishment and its violation of right to life, the movement against it began escalating after Keher Singh was executed for his alleged conspiracy in Indira Gandhi's assassination. He was executed on the basis of circumstantial evidence. And that's how civil liberties and democratic rights took up to a cause against it, because the irrevocability, the possibility of error in the judgment and the arbitrariness of the punishment got highlighted in this particular case. However, the major intervention of the entire discourse in death penalty made by CL&DR groups was the argument about the punishment of death as a major violation of Article 14, right to equality before law in India. It was increasingly becoming evident that death penalty was a form of punishment awarded to those convicts that came from marginalized sections of the population and were too poor to afford legal assistance. And this is the point exactly being elaborated by the rights group in its appeal for commutation to death sentences, that the lack of access to competent legal assistance owing to underprivileged background must be a mitigating factor in the cases. On these lines, the breakthrough was the year 1996 when the rights activists struggled for the commutation of death sentence awarded to 2 Dalits, Vijayavardhan Rao and Charpati Rao, who had caused the death of 23 people accidentally by setting a bus on fire. We intervened in the case with a petition to the President and finally managed to award the hanging. As a consequence, both Vijayavardhan Rao and Charpati Rao are in jail, and one of them also went on to obtain an MPhil while in jail. In the succeeding years, the anti-capital punishment movement in India got re-galvanized in the wake of the 1995 mass sentencing by the trial court of all the 26 accused in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination. In the year that followed, PUC's efforts in getting a stay on a number of executions was commendable. In 2004 again, when the All India Committee Against Capital Punishment was formed, it furthered our movement along the same lines in 2 cases particularly, the Bara massacre case and Dhananjay Chatterjee case. In the Bara massacre case, 4 landless peasants had been awarded death penalty in relation to the 1992 massacre led by the Maoist Communist Center in the village Bara, which was a predominantly Bhumiyar village in the Gaya district of central Bihar, killing 35 men. The people who were condemned to death were semi-bonded Dalit agricultural laborers who cultivated the land of Bara landowners. Their mercy petition was forwarded by the jail authorities in as late as 2003, but the Ministry of Home Affairs and both the President's office claim that the mercy petition never reached them. On an amusing note, 3 other people later arrested and convicted in the same case and awarded death penalty were commuted by the Supreme Court in 2013, which highlights the sheer negligence of the custodians and the own contradictory and muddled positions that the institutions take. Our effort in this case was not to condone the massacre, but also to not undermine the background that resulted in the massacre. The CLDR groups argue that the crime needs to be looked at in context of an unbroken series of killings by the upper caste landlord armies, but their acts have never invited harsh punishment, let alone death penalty. The opposition to death penalty hence also stems from an argument that crimes can't be viewed in abstraction from the socio-economic context of the criminal, neither can vengeance be the basis of punishment. On a similar note, PUDR, through a petition, tried to avert the hanging of Dhananjay Chatterjee, accused of raping and brutally murdering a young girl in Kolkata in 1990. Our argument was that Dhananjay was given death sentence only in 2004 when he had already been in jail for 13 years. Our argument was that no person can be punished twice for the same crime. Although we failed and Dhananjay Chatterjee's execution could not be stayed. This was just in the case of 16th December Delhi gang rape, where the court was trying to satisfy quote unquote the collective conscience of the nation by providing for no room for atonement for the criminal, defeating the very purpose of any punishment. These have been the classic realizations of the retributive notion of justice that has come to hegemonize the meaning of justice itself. Nevertheless, all these arguments that we had been pushing for seem to have struck a few chord, and somewhere the January Supreme Court judgment commuted the death sentence of 15 convicts resonates the grounds that we had been building for in our opposition to death penalty. However, not to forget that this judgment is a consequence of tireless efforts made by the believers in civil and democratic rights. PUDR had filed a PIL for stay on death executions, after which a bench headed by Chief Justice on April 6, 2013 stayed the execution of 8 death row prisoners whose clemency pleas were rejected by Precedent. In its petition, PUDR had challenged the rejection of the mercy pleas of the 8 convicts, contending that there has been delay in carrying out their execution even after it was confirmed by the Apex Court. Following the stay order, a series of petitions were filed on behalf of the convicts on death row, which created the background for the 21st January judgment. It needs to be stressed that the judgment saw the light of the day only after the efforts of rights groups such as PUDR, PUCL, CHRI, HRLN became petitioners or interveners in the case and initiated the process of appeals and petitions for commutation. While we rejoice the 21st January judgment, it is in fact more appropriate to remember at this hour that there are many more convicts on death row. The common supposition with which we begin is that death penalty is not justice, and it is heartening to witness the recent judgment resonated. The acceptability of the nature of capital punishment being inhuman, being imposed mostly on people who are poor and incapable of acquiring legal resort, and the guidelines to ensure averting of secretive executions such as Afzal Gurus and Najwal Kasabs fine-tune the demands of CLDR movement towards the abolition of capital punishment. But the Supreme Court judgment is not all we are struggling for. It is almost a fact now that the public institutions, including the Supreme Court, can't circumvent the societal prejudices in which they are rooted. The judges also have their subjective dispositions, and that often expresses itself in form of contradictory judgments on the same issue. It is alarming that Supreme Court has also taken ambiguous, vacillating positions on death penalty, and the institutions, both judiciary and executive, are equally prone to falling in for the majoritarian sentiments riding on the argument of satisfying the collective conscience of the society. This is evident in the fact that both hangings of last year were of persons belonging to minority community, and more so in the Government of India's refusal to review the 21st January judgment. In the wake of such danger, our stand goes steps further to argue for a total moratorium on death penalty. Article 21 of the Indian Constitution states that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. But we argue that any procedure followed to deprive a person of his or her life or liberty can never be just and fair. Hence, the idea of this convention, and specifically to begin with the chronicle of civil liberties and democratic rights movement vis-a-vis death penalty, is to make a concerted plea for abolition of capital punishment in India. At this juncture, we need support. We need more voices, more hands, more platforms, and more legal aid. The efforts need to be made in two specific directions. The first is the area of documentation. As early as 1995, PUCL had started this effort, and which consolidated itself in form of the amnesty report, the Lethal Lottery. But more such initiatives need to be taken. The other is the area of legal aid. Last year 2013 witnessed frantic efforts by organizations such as HRLN, CHRI and PODR and others in trying to file petitions for commutation. It required getting information about death row prisoners, getting their affidavits, mobilizing and arranging these documents, etc. And we need people to really support us at this level. And especially with the affirmative tone of the Supreme Court and more cases lying to be taken up and argued for, these efforts are bound to get escalated in the future. For the same, this convention offers a launch of an all-India campaign, which is an appeal that all civil liberties and democratic rights group, let's join our hands in solidarity. It is sincerely intended and hoped that we will take the issue of death penalty to streets, to nooks and corners, and to unite with those who are with us in the cause, and also to engage with those who are not yet. On this note, we begin with the first session. We have Professor Uma Chakravarti chairing this session, and the panelists are Justice Suresh, Professor Grace, Professor Patnaik, Manoj Mitta and Ajmer Aulakh. May I please invite the panelists to take their seats. Professor Uma Chakravarti is a feminist historian, has been a professor of history at Miranda House, Delhi University. She has been associated with the women's movement and the movement for democratic rights and also been a PUDR activist. She was a member of the International Tribunal of Justice for Gujarat in 2002, which reported on the experiences of survivors of the Gujarat riot. Justice Suresh has been a former judge at the Bombay High Court and has been a signatory to many progressive judgments. He has led a number of commissions that investigated violations of human rights, including the one investigating the Bombay riots of 1992 and 93. He has been a staunch critique of the extraordinary laws and impunity to state officials. Professor Zog Graves is a professor of economics at the Delhi School of Economics and visiting professor at the Department of Economics, Allahabad University. His work in India includes issues like hunger, famine, gender inequality, child health and education, and the Narega, and has been actively involved with people's movement around this. He has also been a former member of National Advisory Council. Professor Prabhat Patnaik is a professor of economics and currently professor emeritus at the Center for Economic Studies and Planning in the School of Social Sciences at Jawaharlal Nehru University. He is one of the leading Marxist economists in the world and is also a political commentator known for his staunch criticism of neoliberal economic policies. Manoj Mitta is a senior journalist and a legal correspondent at the Times of India and has worked and written severely on issues related to India's record on the rule of law, human rights and judicial accountability. He has worked earlier with the Indian Express and India Today. He has also co-authored the path-breaking book When a Tree Shook Delhi 2007. Ajmer Aulakh is a dramatist and playwright, actively associated with issues of rights violation and movements against them. He is also one of the founder members and currently the president of Association for Democratic Rights. May I please ask Dr. Chakravarti?